You should not be cramming the night before the exam. Hey guys, it's Jen. I'm a test prep tutor helping students build confidence on their standardized exams. And today we are talking all about test anxiety. But first, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you'll be notified of all of our awesome test taking tips. Alright, so let's talk about test anxiety. This is a very real thing, and if you don't manage it, it can become crippling. The thing to remember about test anxiety is that it's a very natural phenomenon, and almost everybody experiences it to some degree. Because it's so natural, rather than fighting it, it's better to work with it and try to channel it into something that can actually help us. I'm going to start by talking to those of you who still have months before your test, and you are just beginning your test prep journey. It probably doesn't shock you that at this stage of the game, I really want you to study and focus on mastering the content. If you want some study tips, check out my SAT tips playlist. And there I have some resource recommendations, strategies, and I continually add to that list as well. So if you subscribe, you'll be notified when those come up. While you are working on content, you'll also have to simultaneously be working on managing your test anxiety. And the best way to do that is to repeatedly put yourself in stressful testing conditions that mimic the test day environment. And the way we want to do this is by developing a test day ritual. So anytime you are taking a practice exam from College Board, one of the official tests, you'll want to follow these steps. You're going to wake up early on the morning of your exam. You're going to eat breakfast, ideally the same breakfast you plan to eat on your actual test date. You're then going to sit down and take the exam in one sitting, following the timing guidelines. Okay? And as much as possible, you'll want to use the same tools you plan to use on test days. So using the same watch if you plan to wear a watch, and using the same calculator you're going to be using for the math sections. What we're trying to do here is to control all of the controllable factors. And this way we can minimize the number of surprises that can show up on test day. Next, let's fast forward to the week of the exam. At this point, your anxiety might be rising because the test is right around the corner. So what can you do during this period to help you calm down? First thing, if you haven't already, establish a bedtime routine. Okay? And you want to do this a whole week before your exam because chances are the night before you're not going to sleep very well. I myself was not a good sleeper right before a big exam. So you want to build up your energy reserve. The night before, if you don't get good rest, you're probably going to deplete some of that energy. But if you have a lot stored up, you're going to have enough energy to get you through the exam the next day. The other thing you might want to think about is mapping your way to your exam. So the testing center. And a lot of you will get to take your test in your school, in which case this is not an issue. But for those of you taking the test in a place that you haven't been before or you're not very familiar with, it is a very good idea to do a dry run, practice run of getting to the test center. At the very least, go on Google Maps and come up with a couple of routes that you can take to get to the exam. The worst thing would be to get lost on the morning of the test or to get stuck in traffic because there was an accident somewhere and you can't get to it on time. So have some backup plans, and being a little bit vigilant at this stage is going to pay off a lot on the morning of the exam. Alright, so next is going to be the night before the test. Let's talk about what you shouldn't do at this point. You should not be cramming the night before the exam. If you don't know something at this point, you're probably not going to know it tomorrow, so might as well put those books away and just figure out how you can relax. Go to bed early, do something fun to get your mind off the test. The one thing you absolutely must do at this point, though, is to pack your bag. Okay? You're going to pack two very important things for sure. It's your admissions ticket and your photo ID. Without either of these, you're not going to be able to take that test. Other things you need to be packing: pencils, eraser, a watch if you have it, calculator, absolutely, extra batteries, and a snack. I'm going to link the official checklist from College Board in the description, but just make sure you pack everything up in a bag and put the bag by the door so that in the morning you can just grab it and go. Now is the morning of the test. You're going to wake up early, you're going to dress super comfortably, and you're going to eat a breakfast that you're very familiar with so you won't have any issues with it. And you're just going to get to the test center by 7:45 a.m. This will give you some time to sit and relax before you start the test. Alright guys, here we are. Test is about to start. This is where your anxiety is probably at a peak. First things first, let's breathe. Take a deep breath. It's going to get you centered. It's going to help you clear your mind so that you are ready to tackle this beast. Anytime throughout the exam, if you find yourself starting to panic, come back to that breath. Take a few deep breaths and you can get recentered. Now, as you progress through the exam, I also have a couple of tips that will help you calm yourself down. Okay? Tip number 1, I want you to annotate your test. This may not sound like a stress management technique, but I'll tell you why it absolutely is. When you annotate, you're taking your pencil, you're underlining the passage, you are circling keywords, you're crossing out answers. By engaging with the test in this way, you are staying really focused and really present. So you're not thinking about all of that crazy things that scare you, right? The other thing is, by interacting with the test, you also have a way of eliminating some of the extra adrenaline that's pumping through you. Tip number 2, I want you to check your Scantron periodically, okay, just to make sure you are bubbling things in exactly correctly. The last thing you want is middle of the test or towards the end when you realize you misbubble something, you're going to be in a panic and there's very little you can do at that point to save yourself. So just make sure periodically to check your Scantron. Tip number 3, I want you to get up and stretch during the breaks. The breaks are there for a reason. So go to the bathroom, have a snack. At the very least, get up and move your arms and legs a little bit because you'll help get your blood flowing, you're going to get oxygen moving, and it helps to reset your brain so you can tackle each section with the same amount of gusto. Alright guys, those are my tips for managing test anxiety. Know that you are not the only one who has it, and it's important to acknowledge it and be honest with yourself. But know that it's a very prevalent thing that almost everyone experiences to some degree. And it's probably helpful to know that having some test anxiety could actually be super beneficial. Being hyper aware on the exam can help you perform better than you otherwise would. Let me know what tips you have to help you stay calm during high pressure situations. If you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell. And I will see you very soon. Bye.